No one knows exactly when it began, only that on a quiet mountain, a strange stone split open and something impossible stepped into the world. It wasn't human and it wasn't an animal. It looked like a monkey, but from the moment it opened its eyes, there was something unsettling about it, something aware, almost too aware. The other monkeys on the mountain didn't fear it. In fact, they were drawn to it. It moved with a confidence no newborn should have, as if it already understood the world it had just entered. Before long, they made him their king. At first, his life was simple. The mountain was their kingdom, and he ruled without effort. He was stronger than the others, faster, sharper. Nothing could threaten him. But as time passed, something began to trouble him, something no strength could overcome. He started thinking about death. What happens when it all ends? What happens when even a king turns to dust? The question refused to leave him. While the others celebrated and lived without worry, he became restless. Eventually, he made a decision that no one else would have dared to make. He left. He abandoned his kingdom, crossed rivers and oceans, wandered through lands no ordinary creature could survive. Years passed, and most would have died long before reaching anything meaningful. But he didn't stop, because he wasn't searching for power, he was searching for a way to never die. At the end of that journey, he found a master, an immortal. The old man saw through him immediately and understood what he wanted. Immortality is not something easily given, but there was something unusual about this creature, something that even the master couldn't fully explain. So he taught him not just tricks, but the hidden rules of the world. He learned how to transform his body at will, how to travel unimaginable distances in a single leap, how to multiply himself, and more importantly, how to escape the natural limits of life. When he returned to his mountain, he was no longer the same being. He was no longer part of the world. He was above it. At first, he used his power playfully, almost carelessly, but power has a way of growing. The more he tested it, the more he realized there were no consequences, no one strong enough to stop him. That realization led him somewhere no living creature should ever go. The underworld, the place where all life ends, where every name is recorded, every fate decided. He walked in uninvited. The rulers of death had never faced anything like him. He wasn't supposed to be there, and yet he stood before them as if he belonged. When they brought out the book of death, the record of every life, he searched for his own name. And then, without hesitation, he erased it. Not just his name, but the names of those he cared about. In that moment, death lost its authority over him. And that was when the balance broke. Because the heavens had been watching. At first, they chose not to destroy him. Instead, they tried something else control. They invited him to join them, gave him a title, a place among the gods. On the surface, it looked like recognition, even respect. But it wasn't. It was containment. He realized it quickly. The position they gave him was meaningless, a way to keep him occupied, to keep him small. For someone who had already stepped beyond death itself, it was an insult he could not accept. And so, he made a choice. If heaven would not respect him, then heaven would answer to him. The rebellion that followed shook everything. Armies were sent against him, forces that had never been defeated. Generals who had ruled for centuries fell one after another. No matter how many came, it wasn't enough. He moved through them like a force of nature, unstoppable, uncontainable. For the first time, heaven was losing. And for the first time, he stood at the top of it all, undefeated. But power always invites something greater. When the chaos reached its peak, everything suddenly went still. The battle stopped, the sky quieted, and in that silence, a single presence appeared. The Buddha. There was no display of force, no dramatic entrance, just calm, absolute certainty. He didn't attack. He didn't need to. Instead, he offered a challenge. If you can leave my hand, heaven is yours. It sounded almost trivial. After everything he had done, after everything he had defeated, this felt like nothing. confident in his power, he accepted without hesitation. He leaped into the sky faster and farther than ever before, crossing distances no one had ever crossed, pushing beyond what he believed was the limit of existence itself. At the farthest point he could reach, he left a mark, proof that he had gone beyond everything. Then he returned, certain that he had won. But when he landed, nothing had changed. The Buddha was still there. The same hand was still beneath him. What he thought was the edge of the universe had never been more than the center of a palm. In that moment, the truth became unavoidable. There are limits, even for those who believe they have none. Before he could react, the sky itself turned against him. A mountain descended and sealed him beneath it, cutting him off from everything he had fought for. No battle, no escape. Just silence. Years passed, then decades, then centuries. 500 years buried in darkness, with nothing but time and the memory of what he once was. The Monkey King, who had once challenged heaven itself, was no longer a conqueror. He was a prisoner, and the world moved on without him. But stories like this don't end in silence. They wait until someone comes to set them free.